AA Kyalami and main event action from round 6 of Total Super Series 97. In the junior motorbikes, Wild Ors takes the lead after winning the second qualifying heat and coming third in Heat 1. He'd like to make it 2 in a row, but the Honda rider is closely followed by Gareth Swanepoel on his Elna Fox Kawasaki, who suffered his only defeat this year in the second heat when he failed to finish. Third is Neville Bradshaw on his Suzuki. Up the hill for the first time in this race, and the first 4 riders are pulling away from the rest of the field. It's Als, Swanepoel, Bradshaw and Lawrence Mahoney on another Honda. Swanepoel, in second position, has won the first 16 races of the season in a row, but had to retire from the previous heat due to mechanical problems. Now he has to make amends, and determined youngster that he is, Swanepoel is visibly closer to Als in the lead. Als beat off a determined challenge to win his first race in Heat 2 and is not about to relinquish his lead. It's becoming a 2-horse battle as Neville Bradshaw is starting to fall back. Swanepoel's not used to chasing from behind, preferring to open up a comfortable cushion in the lead, but he has his work cut out to catch the only other race winner of the season. Swanepoel closing in, but Als takes the defensive line through the tricky left-hander at the bottom of the circuit. This is the hardest battle for the lead all season. Als isn't used to leading a race and he's worried about where Swanepoel is, but the Honda rider seems to be getting more speed out of the left-hander and pulls away on the uphill. Third is still Neville Bradshaw on his Suzuki. Lap 5 and still this battle rages on. Als and Swanepoel well clear of the rest of the field. Oh, and Als gets his rear wheel to step out and Swanepoel pounces like a tiger. This is just what the champion-elect has been waiting for. Als tries to defend the line at the bottom, but Swanepoel goes round on the outside. A new leader as Swanepoel accelerates out of the left-hander and pulls a gap on Als. Just a little peek over his shoulder to see where Als is, and the former world mini-cross champion sees that his ploy of applying maximum pressure to force a mistake has worked. But Als has the power and simply accelerates past to take the lead again. Now the back markers are starting to loom. Has Swanepoel played his hand too early? Als will be very wary of falling for the same trick again, and Swanepoel will have to work out a different ploy. Als takes the inside line, but Swanepoel tries on the outside. A nice blocking maneuver there by Als on his Honda. He holds the inside line but goes a little wide. Oh, and another mistake by Als as his front wheel digs in, allowing Swanepoel to take the lead again. Great racing skills by both riders. Swanepoel on his Elna Fox Kawasaki now has a slight advantage, but he'll have to make sure that he doesn't lose his lead to the superior acceleration of Als on his Honda. But in the end, Swanepoel succeeds in pulling a gap and wins his 17th race of the season. Als finishes second, but wins overall for the day due to his consistent top 3 finishes. Swanepoel only finishes 11th overall, following his duck in the second heat.
Well done, Gareth. Another hard race for you?
Yeah, it was very hard. I got a right start this time, but I was very sore from my tumble in the second heat, and I went well.
It seemed like you chose your moment exactly right to get past the leader.
Yeah, I got past White, I think 3 times, and he passed me back. But once I got past him, I pulled away.
To the 4-wheelers now, and the Pro Quad qualifying heat saw some strange results. Brandon Martin won Heat 1 with pre-race favourite Jacques Struwig failing out due to mechanical problems and championship leader Christo van der Merwe second. Heat 2 saw Struwig winning with Martin second and van der Merwe fourth. Who would take the main event and the overall victory for the day? Well, it's Peter Breckel on his Yamaha Banshee leading from Brandon Martin on another Banshee and Jacques Struwig on a Suzuki. Christo van der Merwe on his Johannesburg Yamaha Banshee has had a bad start and is only 6th. Breckel, Martin and Struwig on the Jojo Tanks machine in the battle for the lead, with the rest of the field storming through. Quad racing has taken off in a big way in South Africa, and it's not difficult to see why. Sideways there by Martin, and that allows Struwig to close in. Mark Breckel, also on a Yamaha Banshee, is joining the party in 4th. Christo van der Merwe is still trying to make up for his poor start in 6th. Back to the leaders, and Peter Breckel, who was third in both qualifying heats, is under pressure from both Martin and Struig. Struig tries to muscle his way past through the chicane, but loses out. Up the hill, and Martin gets it wrong. He does well to keep his quad under control, but that's cost him his second position. Now watch Jacques Struig. Peter Breckel into the stadium section. Nice control, but Struig is chasing and Martin is back. Breckel should be pulling a gap as Martin attacks Struig, who has to defend his position. Mark Breckel seems to have a flat right rear tyre. Struig and Martin neck and neck into the tight right-hander and the twisty part of the circuit, where it's oh so easy to make a mistake. Now they're covered by the proverbial blanket, and Breckel hasn't taken advantage of the battle behind him. Struig attacks on the downhill, trying to force Peter Breckel into a mistake, but Breckel's been around the block a few times and isn't falling for it. Those two seem to have dropped Martin and are now fighting tooth and nail for the lead. Spectacular racing. Up the hill once again, and Peter Breckel is a worried man. Martin has indeed dropped back a little bit, and Mark Breckel is still in fourth. David Parkinson is in sixth, ahead of Christo van der Merwe. Into the stadium section, and the flat-out left-hander in front of the main grandstand. Struig goes in faster, but has to take a wider line. Martin's not out of the picture yet. Struig tries every conceivable line around the corners, but going wide only loses you time. Peter Breckel is pulling a gap. Into the twisties again, and this is the opportunity to close up. A slight mistake by Breckel, but Struig also can't get enough drive out of the corner. Martin's closed in as well. This is great racing as each rider tries to attack the man in front while defending his position from the man behind. South Africa's quad racers are ranked amongst the top in the world, and this is exactly why. Oh, and Struig is in the lead. Breckel must have made a mistake. The continuous pressure taking its toll. And now Martin's also attacking Breckel for second position. It's Struig on his Suzuki, and Martin's in second place. The two Yamaha Banshee riders trading places on the uphill. The crowd loves the action, and as Struig and Martin pull away, a battle for fourth has developed between Peter Breckel and Christo van der Merwe on the Johannesburg Yamaha Banshee. David Parkinson is also in the picture. Breckel has had 2 third places already, and his third one is in grave danger. Wide he goes, and van der Merwe gets past. Breckel takes the defensive line into the tight right-hander. Oh, and a bit of bumping and barging there. This is hard racing, and these are hard men. Championship leader Christo van der Merwe in third, Paul Breckel in fourth, and David Parkinson holding on to fifth. Breckel goes a little wide into the fast and slippery left-hander at the bottom of the circuit. There's Parkinson, and he goes through on the inside. Coming up to one of the back markers, but things settled down, and Struig won from Martin and van der Merwe, with Breckel finishing ahead of Parkinson. Martin took overall honours.
Jacques, dink of jy reg geloop hierdie keer?
Slegte begin vir die dag. So ek het 2 wenne, maar ek het dit nie klaar gemaak nie. Ek sal maar kyk hoe lê die punte, maar ek sien Christo het ook nie 'n goeie dag gehad nie, so ek voel nie baie sleg nie.
Dit lyk my een van jou probleme is jou begin, jou wegspring.
In die ander klas ja, maar in die klas het gewoonlik 'n goeie wegspring, maar as die dag verkeerd begin, dan sit my seker in 'n verkeerde dag.
Open motorbikes now, and with 2 wins under his belt already, Gary Peterson is the favourite to take the main event as well. But Ian Topless was second in both qualifying heats and needed a win to try and close the championship gap of 12 points between himself and Peterson. Topless in third behind Alan Julian and Gary Peterson as they head down the hill on the first lap. Julian was third in Heat 1 and fourth in Heat 2. A great start once again by Gary Peterson on his Team Brasco FMF Racing Kawasaki, followed closely by Alan Julian on his Honda and Ian Topless on his Elna Fox Kawasaki. Peterson has found new inspiration, becoming the proud father of a beautiful little girl recently, and it's showing in his racing. He's also not showing any signs of discomfort after breaking some ribs in a practice accident a few weeks ago. Peterson, Julian and Topless is on the attack. Topless desperately needs to win this race, but first he has to get by Alan Julian, who's not the easiest rider to pass at the best of times. Grant Bloomfield on his 500 Honda is fourth, ahead of Greg Aspinall on a Kawasaki. Topless has just retained his 125 and 250 motocross titles and will have to close the points gap on Gary Peterson to have any hope of taking the open category in Total Super Series 97. But Julian's not making it easy in any way. With Peterson pulling away, two nice battles have developed between Julian and Topless for second and between Bloomfield and Aspinall for fourth. Alan Julian on his Shell Honda, a long-time off-road competitor who's only recently found form in the short course Total Super Series event, under attack from motocross specialist Ian Topless on his Elmer Fox Kawasaki. Behind them, Grant Bloomfield's defending his fourth position from Greg Aspinall, but this is the battle of the race. Gary Lipchick on a Kawasaki and with his trademark Pink Panther on his back is in sixth. A nice lead has developed for Peterson on his Team Brasco FMS Racing Kawasaki because Julian and Topless are keeping each other extremely busy. Defending and attacking causes you to take unconventional lines and to brake early, slowing you down. There's Peterson, and Julian seems to have made a bit of a break over Topless. Behind them, Greg Aspinall has taken fourth from Grant Bloomfield. Gary Lipchick is still in the picture. Topless is going as hard as he can, but doesn't seem to be able to do anything about Julian's lead in the battle for second position. Aspinall has made a nice break as well. Bloomfield finding the big 500 not as nimble as the 250s. Aspinall is also a long-time off-road competitor, and it's galling to the off-roaders that the motocrossers have been dominating Total Super Series since its inception last year. In sixth position, Gary Lipchick seems to be catching Bloomfield. Gary Peterson has had Ian Topless hounding him in the championship this season, but some good results for him and some bad luck for Topless has opened up a commanding lead of 12 points in favour of Peterson after the last two events. After this, there's one more round of the championship to go, and Topless will have to dig deep. Round the left-hander at the bottom of the track, and the order seems to have settled down. It's Peterson, Julian and Topless, then comes Aspinall and Bloomfield in fifth, Gary Lipchick in sixth, and Johan de Bruyn on his Honda in seventh. Acknowledgement from the crowd as the battle for second position hots up again. Topless on the outside, and this time he holds his momentum and goes around Alan Julian. Now he has to hold the inside line for the left-hander, and yes, he does it. Ian Topless moves into second position. Topless gets a good drive out of the corner and has already opened up a bit of a gap over Julian. Question is, does he have enough time to catch Peterson? Backmarkers coming up. There's our leader, but unfortunately Topless has left it too late and the order remained the same. Peterson took a relatively easy victory as well as first overall for the day. Topless's third, second place gave him second overall, losing a further 2 championship points to Peterson. Julian finished third overall.
Gary, well done. That's 3 in a row for the day. You don't seem to slow down at all.
No, I told you this morning, Hendrik, Ian was out to get me. I wasn't out to get him, I was out to win. And I proved that I won 3 out of 3. He's been on a roll, he's been beating me like by 1 point, 2 points in the last 2 or 3 rounds. And I've made up another 2 points on him after today.
The final showdown of the day in the super truck and production vehicle category, and with mechanical problems causing mayhem in the first 2 heats, the scene was set for a grand finale. In Heat 1, Kasi Kutsia's dealer team Toyota dropped out with a fuel pump problem, allowing Paolo Piazzamuso to win in the creepy crawly Ford. Heat 2 saw Claudio Piazzamuso taking his maiden win in the other creepy crawly Ford, Paolo suffering with an engine problem, and Kutsia with a puncture. A great start and already a gap for Coetzee in the dealer team Toyota Hilux, with Linton Draper, who finished third in both previous heats in his Chev V8, battling it out with Claudio Piazzamuso in the creepy-crawly Ford Courier. The showdown was on another level too, with Coetzee's dealer team Toyota Hilux being prepared by American specialist Tony George, and the two creepy-crawly Ford Couriers by their designer, Nye Frank, also from the USA. Coetzee was determined to make up for his bad luck in the previous two heats and was making the most of Claudio Piazzamuso's dilemma of being stuck behind the huge Chev V8 of Linton Draper. These two were trading blows in the battle for second position. Piazzamuso on a high after his win in the previous heat, Draper was not about to give up easily. Championship leader Paolo Piazzamuso was still suffering from a misfiring engine in his creepy-crawly Ford Courier and was just circulating in an effort to score some points. Meanwhile, Kasi Coetzee was pulling out all the stops, opening up a huge gap over Linton Draper. Claudio Piazzamuso was also trying his best, pushing and prodding to get past Linton Draper. The creepy-crawly Ford Courier was handling much better than before, thanks to the input of Frank, and he was clearly faster than Draper into and around the corners. But Draper had the advantage of low-down grunt from his V8 engine and could get out of the slow corners quickly. This was turning into a similar battle to the one between the two of them in the first heat, when Piazzamuso also battled to get past Draper. Piazzamuso gets his nose next to Draper, but he's mindful of the incident in Heat 1 when contact between them in this corner left Piazzamuso the worse for wear. Draper isn't averse to finding a different route than the marked one, and Piazzamuso must again be growing increasingly frustrated. Coetzee pulling a lead and all eyes on this battle for second position between the very wide grunting V8-powered Chev of Linton Draper and the smooth, well-handling four-cylinder Ford-powered creepy-crawly Courier of Claudio Piazzamuso. Draper defending his line into the right-hander and Piazzamuso trying to get the slingshot out of it and down the hill. This is where the Ford driver catches up on every lap. And this time he gets it right. Piazzamuso is right next to Draper and the Chev driver is forced to give way. The creepy-crawly Ford moves into second position. Now, will Piazzamuso be able to get away from Draper? And more importantly for him, will he be able to catch the flying Kasi Coetzee? Some argy-bargy there, but Piazzamuso keeps control. The chase is on. Piazzamuso seems to have made it stick and sets off in pursuit of the dealer team Toyota Hilux of Kasi Coetzee in the lead. Coetzee has had an easy run so far, no sign of the engine maladies that plagued him in the first heat. But problems there are for Piazzamuso. He's got it wrong, Draper is past, and now he has to do it all over again. Further back in the production category, Frank de Greef in his VW Beetle is involved in an almighty battle with Henry Zermatten in his Chev. Coetzee is about to lap them, but this is a tight part of the circuit and it's going to take a while. De Greef has nowhere to go, so Coetzee will have to bide his time. Oh, and problems for Draper. He's pulled off the circuit and is out of the race, allowing Claudio Piazzamuso to take back second position. But he's a far way off Coetzee and has to get past Richard Leake's Castrol Hilux. That's the distance. Coetzee is so far ahead that he's coming up to lap Piazzamuso in second position. These two, the only remaining super trucks left in the race, with Paolo Piazzamuso finally deciding to call it a day. Coetzee catching an unwell-sounding Claudio Piazzamuso, who lost a lot of time when he got stuck earlier in the race. This has never happened before. One of the top super trucks actually lapping one of the others. Coetzee and the whole Toyota team were extremely pleased about that. Coetzee took his first victory of the day, ahead of Claudio Piazzamuso and Linton Draper, while de Greef won the production vehicle category. With Piazzamuso's 2 seconds and a victory, he took the overall honours, but Coetzee ended the day in exuberant style.
Dat is een dag van gemengde geluk hier.
mooie skok by third time lucky. Ons was die derde keer werklik gelukkig geweest. Ek het nie gedink ons geluk gaan so vinnig draai nie, maar dit was lekker om te wen, veral om die dag af te sluit.
Wat was die probleem in die eerste wedstryd?
Ja, in die eerste wedstryd is 'n fuelpomp wat binne gebreek het. Jy kan nie, ons kon nie fout analiseer nie voor die pomp nie oopgemaak en die eerste gedink is veiligheid. En die tweede wedstryd was 'n papwiel, eerste keer ons 'n papwiel kry. Third time lucky.
The final round of Total Super Series 97 will be held at AA Kyalami on Saturday the 8th of November. See you there.